So, what if it's possible to agree with certain things that Nick Fuentes has said, while still disagreeing with a lot of the other things and finding many of those things outrageous, and dealing with the actual comments and the actual arguments of Nick Fuentes? Um, I wonder if that's possible, and that's something I want to try and do. I hate to beat a dead horse. I feel like I am, to be honest with you. I'm tired of this subject. I'm ready to move on, and I'm honestly saddened that this has become what it has become. And even Erica Kirk right now is just. I've never seen something like this before. I mean, this is truly like just depressing, to be honest with you. Just that she's Candace Owens has continued to spread just complete fabrications, offered no evidence for anything. Um, just throw stuff out there, and people just believe her because, of course, she's just all about that suspicious Israel. Now, look, here's the thing. I, I'm not a, I'm not, I'm no fan of Ben Shapiro. I don't like him. I grow less and less. I like, well, put it this way, I like him less and less as the days go by. But the whole we have to support Israel thing. I just I don't I don't agree with that. I'm not for that stuff. I don't believe that the current state of Israel over there in the Middle East right now are the chosen people of God. I don't believe that. I don't. I believe God's chosen people, the true Israel, are believers. That I think the New Testament makes it very clear that the true Israel of God are people who believe the promises of God. And those people today, we call those Christians. We didn't call them that in the Old Testament, but that's who they were too back then. I believe that has consistently always been the case. I believe that the New Testament just teaches that so adamantly clearly. But that is what I believe. Okay, I believe that on biblical grounds. That is not anti-Semitism. That's just straight what the Bible teaches. I believe believers are made up of Jews and Gentiles. So I don't believe Jews are excluded from the New Covenants. None of that stuff. Not anti-Semitic. I haven't never been. I've believed this stuff for years, before this became a huge issue. I just never talked about it, because I just didn't think it was ever going to gain any traction. Not anytime soon. Boy, has it blown up. And sometimes, man, I just sometimes sit back and I think we really got to be careful what we wish for. It's unfortunate that it's come to this. But anyways, I can agree that there are problems with our blind support for Israel, seemingly blind support. I mean, I think Donald Trump has been a little bit critical. I don't agree with the Iran stuff, all that stuff. I just think. I guess my point here is it's like right now we're on this what's the word for it? Is this like this spectrum thing? We're just flinging back and forth. If you if you believe that Fuentes should have a platform, you support Nick Fuentes and everything that he says. Like, no. If you believe that Israel is a nefarious character in the world today, you believe you're all about Candace Owens. I'm like, nope, no, I don't believe any of that stuff. I think Candace Owens has completely lost her mind. So there's nuances here, guys, and I think we're not allowing ourselves to have those nuances, and that's something I really want us. I'm just hoping and praying that we will do. I gotta say this though. This is something I really have to say. I'm making this video just off the spur of the moment too. Like I really need to go eat dinner, but I just something bad is on the horizon right now, guys. And if I reach pretty much nobody, I just wish I could speak some reason into all of this. I'm watching this stuff unfold, and I'm trying to understand. I'm really trying to understand. I just saw Steve Deace completely melt down over Brett Cooper's very reasonable comments. I'm sorry, they were just just totally reasonable. She just simply said, for you guys, firstly, she said, the more and more you guys just smash away at Tucker Carlson, at Fuentes, but particularly Tucker Carlson right now, the more and more you guys just do this, the worse it looks for you guys. And you guys gotta stop this, because the more you're doing this, guys, the worse it is. The more you're doing that, instead of actually addressing this all started, guys. All of this, at least according to Fuentes' story. I haven't heard Ben Shapiro's story. Some guy on Steve Deace's meltdown video I just saw, he said, he told me, that basically you've only heard Fuentes' side of the story, and I'm like, well, I'd be interested to hear Ben Shapiro's side of the story. It'd be great to have, but so far I haven't seen any of it. If it's there, then show it to me. Again, I don't watch Fuentes on a regular basis. I don't watch Ben Shapiro on a regular basis. I don't care for either of them. But if you've got Ben Shapiro giving his account for things, I'll listen to it. Like I'm happy to listen to it and go, okay, that sounds reasonable. Okay, now I get it. So it looks like Fuentes, at least in his interview with Tucker, left a few things out. Wonder why he did that. Either Ben Shapiro's lying or Fuentes is lying. See, like something like that. But as far as I can tell, what basically happened is Fuentes started asking some honest questions. If we're America first and what's going on with Israel, and Shapiro just basically called him an anti-Semite, and from there just tried to have him canceled. This was way back in 2016. This is according to Fuentes' story. And see, I don't know, because I didn't know who he was back then. I had no idea who he was until several months ago. He started slowly popping up into my feeds, and I'm like, who's this guy? Why are we acting like we know who he is? But anyways, so I don't know. So I'm not going to go back and look. I just don't have that time. I don't get paid to do any of that stuff. So, anyways, yeah. So I'm trying to understand every single side of the story. The trouble is I don't have every single side. I typically have one side. And to me, what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing one side trying to talk about something that's kind of important to talk about, especially if we're going to be America first, kind of an important deal to talk about. And the other side doesn't want to talk about it. They just want to call you an anti-Semite. They just and I'm like, guys, see, and the thing is, the big problem here is if a lot of these guys, Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro or Steve Deace, watch this video on some weird off chance, I feel like they're just going to do the same thing. They're just going to be like, this guy is grifting. And it's frustrating, man. It really is frustrating. And it's sad to watch, because I'm not. I'm not. I want to understand. I really want to understand. I don't want to be that guy. I just had a spat the other day on one of my posts about the Virginia elections and the New York elections and stuff, about why foreigners just should not hold office at all, period. I believe that. Just think that's... I got a big old spat with a friend of mine over the whole thing, which he disagreed with me completely. We just, anyways, but that stuff bothers me. I'll be honest with you. I don't like that. I don't like being that contrarian guy. I don't enjoy being that. Like that was bothering me all night last night when that whole situation blew up. I was just like, gosh, it just sucks, man. I don't want to cause trouble. I'm not trying to be a troublesome guy. It really makes my nerves just kind of go, ooh, I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It's not a fun feeling. So this doesn't bring me any joy to be this kind of contrarian guy. I have family, my mom and my dad, they're more on the Israel side of this whole thing, and I'm not. And like that, I'm like, how in the world am I supposed to deal with that? I love my mom and my dad. They love me too, of course. And so the only thing I can think about doing at this point is we've got to find that middle ground. We've got to find some way in which we can look at the things that Fuentes is pushing, the take the good, leave the bad kind of thing. So I've not heard him discuss this personally, because I don't listen to Nick Fuentes. I don't want to listen to Nick Fuentes. I don't like him. I think he is the cynical version of Charlie Kirk, and I think cynicism is a terrible sin. Cynicism, there is no justified reason to be cynical about anything. It's just a sin. It's just bad. But apparently he has talked about how he doesn't believe that white people should intermingle with different colors. That there are certain that the white people are. I don't know if this is true, but basically, white people have. He just believes in this tribalism, and Tucker Carlson, he kind of sort of brought that up with Fuentes, and how he disagrees with Fuentes on that thing, on that issue, and Fuentes kind of conceded that, at least in the interview. I see. I don't know if Fuentes was being totally genuine in that interview. I don't know if he was just trying to. He was just playing the moderate guy so he can siphon off, because Tucker Carlson has a really big audience, and that he can siphon off even more people to his side. See, I just don't trust him. But so can we look at that idea and go, that's a bad idea, that's not a good idea, and still accept that he makes good points about Israel, though he makes good points about foreign policy issues, and those are things we have to confront. And if we just pound our heads on I was about to say heads, but we're getting to that point, we're about to pound our heads on tables. But if we just pound our hands on tables and we just like, how do you think that looks? It looks just like you're just pouting. You're not actually dealing with the issue. I mean, it's like the adults in the room are the younger guys rather than the older guys. And it just looks bad. It looks terrible, guys. It doesn't look good at all. I get it. I understand. You're frustrated because everything has just flipped in like a week. You're just losing an audience in droves right now. I mean, it's incredible that Ben Shapiro even still has an audience. I don't know, like, who even listens to this guy anymore? But it just doesn't help, guys. This isn't how we handle this situation. I'm sitting back here and I'm watching the way Mark Levin and all these other guys are behaving, and I'm like, dude, this is not professional. This is leftist smear tactics. This is not what I expect from you guys. You guys are supposed to be the ones who are willing to deal with issues head on, whatever. So it strikes me as odd at the very least, and I find it very unattractive. And you have to understand that a lot of young people are feeling the same way. I'm trying to warn you guys. Like, I'm trying to help. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you guys. Yeah, like, if I was going to be your advisor, like if Steve Deace had somebody who advised him before he went on every single program, if Mark Levin had somebody who would advise him before he went on any program, and his advisor was someone like me who is kind of in touch with what the folks are saying these days, I would tell you, whatever you do not pound your hand on your table, shout and scream about how Brett Cooper is acting retarded. Don't do that. Because right now we are on shaky ground. You have to, like, I just don't understand. Why don't you just address with what she just said? Like, why is what she said unreasonable? If you are that passionate about Israel, well, then your loyalty is to Israel. She said it. She didn't say it like as an insult. She was like genuinely honest. Like, she wants you to be happy. I want you to be happy. Don't you want to be happy? Go live where you're happy. Go live in Israel where you're happy, because that's clearly where your allegiance is. Go live over there then. Like, I'm happy here. I want to stay here. And so I want my leaders to be invested in the country that I live in. That's what I elect them for. Ted Cruz, I mean, he just straight up says in his interview with Tucker Carlson that his whole purpose, his whole reason for his existence in Congress is for the defense of Israel. I'm like, oh, well, I kind of thought I elected you to represent me and what my interests are, but apparently some dude living off thousands of miles on the other side of the world is so you're not really my representative then. Like, that's what he says. That's literally what he says. And so it's like, well then what are you doing here? Why don't you go live over there? Of course, then I would violate my own principles that I don't believe foreigners should hold office, and Ted Cruz would be a foreigner in Israel. Anyways, I digress. So I don't understand this, guys. Like, this isn't helping at all. This is not good. This is not going to work. you need to seriously deal with the issues, okay? Um, because we're losing people bad, crucial voters in the conservative cause to this. And I'm listening to a lot of these people, a lot of these commentators, and they are all saying, here's what they're all saying. I don't always agree with Fuentes on everything he said. I believe his views on race are bad, not anti-Semitic, but I agree with his views about Israel. That's what all of them are saying. They sound pretty reasonable to me. And yet we're all getting called Nazis and Nazi sympathizers and stuff. And that doesn't, it's just, I'm just telling you guys, it doesn't help. It doesn't work. It's just gonna, the firestorm we are dealing with right now is, I'm sorry, it's the fault of Conservative Inc., Conservative Incorporated. It's their fault. It really is. I'm sorry. I think Tucker Carlson, I think he dealt with Fuentes. I wish he would have pushed him on more issues. Absolutely. I wish he would have pushed the Stalin point much more. But what Tucker Carlson did was he inserted himself into this issue in the wiser way. Instead of just like lambasting the kid, he just was like, well, let's understand what you believe. And here's what I believe. And here's why I disagree with you. And Tucker Carlson, I think I really believe Tucker Carlson has done the conservative cause a huge favor by doing this. The conservative cause is making it worse by setting itself on fire because of it. Like, there really needs to be some self-reflection going on here. Again, disagree with Fuentes. I disagree with him about a lot of things. I think he makes good points about the Israel issue. I don't understand. I really don't understand the zealous support for Israel. There's only a couple reasons why you would do that. One of them is a biblical reason, and I don't think that is a sufficient reason for foreign policy. I also just think that all of that is just propaganda for the real reason we are over there in the Middle East. It's the oil. That's the reason why we're over there. That's really it. I mean, we got, huge bases in Qatar to control that little area. I don't explain that to me. Like, how is that in Israel's interest, in the interest of supporting Israel? It's really not. It's really just about oil. It's about having a presence there in the Middle East to control the flow of oil, to make sure countries like Russia, China, Iran don't control that. That's really the reason why. And see, but I think that at least that's what I believe. That's what I believe is the reason why. I think that's why Ben Shapiro doesn't want to actually deal with the issue. And I think that's why Conservative Inc. doesn't want to actually address the issue. Why are we supporting Israel? Because if you actually get down to the point, see, like, if you ask me, if Fuentes asked me, hey, so why are we, if we're America first, then why are we supporting Israel? I would just flat out tell you, that's the oil. It's the oil. That's why. But see, the problem is, if you say that, well, then all the other stuff for why you support Israel kind of goes out the window. It's not really about some Old Testament promises. It's not really about spreading democracy in the Middle East. That's not really what it's about. It's about the American empire. That's what it's really about. But yeah, you know what? That doesn't work. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound very moral. So if we want to win the Americans over to our side, our people, U.S. citizens, we've got to sell them on this. Freedom for Iraq. It's Operation Iraqi Freedom. Even though, like, most Americans at that time couldn't even point out Iraq on a map anywhere. Why is that our problem? Why, that's their problem, not ours. But that's how you have to sell it. It's like that's even though it's not really what it's about. So that's what you would have to do. And so it's called propaganda, guys. It's propaganda. We've been doing it for ages. That's like that's not anything new. So, like, I don't know why anybody would be shocked about this. So, that's really, guys, that's what the issue is. But see, that again, that's why we don't actually want to debate about this, because this will actually lead us to the ugly truths. The skeletons, Conservative Incorporated has skeletons in the closet. Nick Fuentes, you can call him all you want, but the dude is exposing those skeletons. People are seeing that, especially people who are not traditionally conservative. That's the thing here, guys. Most of the people here, they're not traditionally conservative. They've been on the left for a long time, been disillusioned by the left. So a lot of them are Gen Zers who, of course, don't have, because they're really, really young, they're in their 20s, don't have this long history of conservatism. So these are new conservatives embracing a movement that has gone through a lot of shifts over the years, has gone through a lot of identity crisis in the last few years. They've come along alongside that. They're not wedded to the traditional Reagan, what I would say, neoconservative perspective. They're not part of that. They just want to be genuine conservative people. And so they're asking questions about Israel now. Fuentes represents that. So that's something we have to recognize, guys. And so these people, they want to get all the skeletons out. Let's get all the skeletons out of the closet. We need to seriously confront the errors and the mistakes of our movement of the past. Stop holding Reagan up on a pedestal. I'm not saying he was a terrible president. I'm just saying we need to stop treating guys like Reagan as these just infallible presidents, the supreme model of conservatism or whatever. Not just Reagan, but other figures. That's what these people are about. That's why they're not falling for any of this. That's why they want to know, like, hey, like, explain this to me. I thought we were America first, and yet Israel is here. They're not even on this, like, in the same, remotely same area. What's going on there? Well, we're sending them billions and billions of dollars when we have problems here. Like what's going on with that? No, anti-Semite. You don't be an anti-Semite and ask those kind of questions. You think that person's going to react to that with a kind of, okay, he's right? No, they're not. They're not going to do that. They've been burned before by the left. They've been burned all their lives, and they're not going to let you do it to them either. They're basically done with this. So, as I wrote in my little article on the whole thing, Fuentes, I think, is a product of the right. I really do believe that. It's in many ways it's Ben Shapiro's fault. He didn't really address, because, and the thing is, Ben Shapiro was cornered. Like, again, he can't actually address what Fuentes, like the substance of Fuentes' arguments. He can't actually do that, because, like I told you, if you really were to get into that from a MAGA perspective or from a America First perspective, you eventually have to get to the point where defending Israel is nothing to do with just Israel itself. It has to do with just straight up American corporate interests. That's just really it. Okay, these are the ugly truths, guys. These are the ugly truths we don't want to face. We all got so excited when Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox, because we were using all the Obi-Wan quotes. Strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine. You gotta be careful what you wish for, because it seems to me that Tucker Carlson is like, yeah, I'm gonna really unleash the monster, but that's gonna involve not just the left and its insanity, but the conservative side and its complicity. I don't know if that's a word, but it's complacency. That's what I was looking for. And its own deals with the devil. And now that he's basically doing that, everybody's freaking out. It's just fascinating to watch. It's sad to watch, really. I'm sure I sound like I'm on Tucker's side, and I'm a big fan of Tucker. So it probably won't do me any good if I tell you I wish Tucker handled that interview a little bit better. I wish he did a little bit more. I don't. I don't like the way Tucker is on a lot of issues. But I've just got to say, guys, I just think he's right here. I just think he is. I think he makes strong points, and I think, in a way, I guess what I'm asking is, if I were to like talk to like Steve Deace or Mark Levin, convince me, dude. Like, convince me. Convince me that Tucker Carlson is a huge problem in a legit objective way, not in a, well, because he's just critical of Israel way. Like convince me. I'm right here. Like, just, I'm asking you, please give me something, man. I'm trying to take your side. I just can't right now. I can't be intellectually honest and do that. I just when Steve Deace, because Brett Cooper said, you know, if you love Israel that much, wouldn't you be happier living in Israel? I want you to be happy. Go live in Israel. And then in response to that, Steve Deace just pounds his hands on his desk and calls that a retarded take. I'm like, dude, like, what was that? I mean, I'm speechless. I can't believe I'm seeing Steve Deace, someone who I've always admired, and even though I've not always agreed with him on everything, but admired so much, acting and behaving that way. It's a sad thing to watch. It really is. I've watched. Look, I'm not saying Steve Deace has no right to get angry at anything. But I've seen him get mad at things, and I've gotten mad with him. This is not something to act that way about. I mean, this is just absolute frenzy. And so I'm just like, man, dude, like, help me out here. Like, give me something. Don't just call her take retarded. What was wrong with the argument? What was wrong with it? Like, give me something. Because this kind of stuff, guys, this is just, I'm looking at that, guys, and I'm going, okay, I see the left react to things that way. This is very unattractive to me. I'm just like, again, it's like my friend, you know, all due respect to him, when I was talking about the, you know, I don't think foreigners should have any office at all, not just the presidency, but any office in America, any government office, any public office. I don't think they should. It's like when he, you know, tried to make it personal by, you know, saying, well, my wife's an immigrant. You're saying she doesn't have this, you know, and I'm like looking at him like, yeah. It doesn't mean I hate your wife. Doesn't mean I don't trust her. I'm sure she'd do a great job. But for me, it's the sentiment that it raises. Because if you allow even people, foreigners who are very good, patriotic people, if you allow them to hold public office, then you set the precedent for, well, then why not any of these people over here? Who gets to decide what is a loyal foreigner? You know, like, who gets to decide that, you know? You just open that door, and I think you just need to shut it and keep it shut. So that means no foreigners at all, even ones that we like and trust. It's not because I hate them. It's not because I don't trust them. It's not because I don't like them. It's just a weak emotional argument. It just makes it personal. I'm like, why don't you deal with the substance of my argument? Why don't you deal with that? And like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you then, man. I really don't know. I'm like, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just like, throw me a bone here, Steve. Throw me a bone, Ben. Somebody help me out here. I'm really trying to be on your side. Oh no, he's not. He's not. All right, fine. I guess I'm not then. I guess you can see into my heart. You know my mind. You know all that stuff. I guess so. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm an idiot, you know. And like, this is why this is happening, because you guys don't want to talk. You don't actually want to have a conversation. You're just like, shut up, you know, stop criticizing Israel and whatever. And again, this is surprising for me, coming from Steve Deace, who clearly is not dispensationalist. He's sort of tongue-in-cheek, takes and swipes at the position. So it just makes me wonder why he's taking this side. I don't know if it's just because he's got friends like Josh Hammer, who's Jewish, Ben Shapiro. I don't know if he's just doing this completely out of loyalty to friends or what. Because he's said things on his own program that Ben Shapiro would look at and probably think that's anti-Semitic. So I'm like, what's the deal here? So, and I think that that's a problem, because that would mean that Steve Deace is not motivated by serious logical argumentation on this issue. He's not motivated by that. He's motivated by loyalty to friends. And that sounds great until your friends are a bit shady. And when I say shady, I don't mean like Ben Shapiro is some evil guy. I just mean like, well, he's Ben Shapiro. You've seen what he's been doing lately. His behavior, it's unacceptable. I think it's completely unacceptable. So like, I want to be loyal to my friends. I want to be loyal to my family. But if my brother is gonna go out and do criminal activity, like, yeah, I gotta turn you in, bud. You can't hide here from the cops. Like, I can't let you do that. Like, I gotta do what's right. So that at a certain point, friendship becomes a conflict of interest. And I wonder if that's what's going on with Steve Deace. So I could be wrong. I don't know his heart, just like doesn't know my heart. Anyways, I'm hoping and I'm praying. I really am praying. And I don't want to even talk about this anymore. I just want to get back to trying to study history, work on some projects on that. My writing, my novel writing and everything like that. I just want to focus on a lot of that, especially this weekend. I really would like to not have to think about any of this weekend. And get to all that stuff. I would really like for this to go away. I would like the popularity that Nick Fuentes is just sucking in. I would like that to stop. I really would like it to stop. But the only way it's going to stop is if Conservative Inc. I'm calling it Conservative Inc. because I'm talking about this the mainline conservative voices: Glenn Beck, Steve Deace. He's not the biggest one, but Mark Levin, all these guys, the bigger names right now, Ben Shapiro. I'm saying this because I'm trying to help you guys not keep shooting yourself in the foot, and that's what you're doing. I don't want to see you guys go down like this. I really don't, because we need you guys. So, man, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say. I know it was a long couple minutes, but praying, guys. I'm praying for our country. I'm praying for this movement. I have no ill will towards anybody. I want us to get along. I want us to talk and understand each other. So, Soli Deo Gloria. God bless. Bye.